SSKN. SSKN.
Investing in crypto on eToro is easy. No need to worry about exchanges, wallets,
We'll see. We'll see. We'll cover that too at 10 o'clock.
YYAI. NUKK.
Tilray cannabis
NUKK.
stock. I'm just not optimistic cannabis gets legalized. I'm really not. Like, I don't. You get all these people that posture and be like, yeah, we're going to legalize it, you know? And then they get a bunch of PAC money from big industries that don't want it legalized. And then they just don't do anything, you know? And so, I'm just not confident in cannabis stocks. Just not. Maybe they go up, you know?
NUKK.
But
GMHS.
NUKK.
Today's report is Jackson Hole level. Yeah, I mean, I think today's report, listen, over the past month and a half, we've had a lot of contradictory reports that have made people nervous about stagflation. Stagflation is an economic state in which we have high inflation and weak labor markets.
YYAI.
And we've had data that kind of shows some of that. We've had a really weak labor report where they revised jobs for May and June down extensively. It came in at negative 58,000 jobs revised downward. That shows labor market weakness. And then following that, we had a relatively calm CPI report that was mostly neutral. But then the PCE, which is wholesale inflation, business inflation, that eventually a lot of the time gets passed on to consumers anyway, showed incredibly elevated numbers here. Like incredibly elevated numbers. Like that data showed up super hot.
NUKK.
And it freaked a lot of people out. You know, PCE inflation came out almost 4% in some places year over year. Freaked everybody out. And so then that's the other side of it, where we had risks to, yeah, look, PCE inflation, chat. Showed up. 0.9% headline month over month, 0.2% expected, almost 1% month over month. Core month over month, almost 1%, 0.9%. Core PPI year over year, almost 4%, 3.7 versus under 3% expected. And so that made people kind of worried. It's still pretty probable at this point. It didn't influence rate cuts that much, to be real, or to be honest. But still, now people are worried about stagflation because we've had weak labor and high inflation data. And so today's PPI or today's PCE inflation report is going to be the first look we get at inflation. Since then, it's going to be the first real look. We've seen jobless claims. Jobless claims have showed either elevation in 1 week, and then another week they've showed kind of flat numbers yesterday. And so labor report's been, you know, we'll see. But next week we got another labor report after today's PCE inflation data. So we got a lot of stuff coming the next few weeks that might influence monetary policy, especially in September. And that's been at the front of the market lately. So hey, buddy. Hey, love you, man. Good day, dude.
NUKK.
The de minimis exemption. De minimis exemption, if you hear people talking about it, is an exemption on very low price goods. Like basically we're not going to tariff things that have very slight margins because they're cheap. But that exemption is ending. I don't know if it ends today. I'll have to check. But yeah, if you ever hear de minimis, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about tariffs on really cheap things. All right, guys. So we're starting to bounce back up. We bounced right at 620s heading into this report. We got about 11 minutes left. All right, so we did a poll here. 49% think higher inflation, 24% think lower, 26% think as expected. Somebody's saying, why does the poll expect higher inflation? It's probably from the last PPI inflation report that we saw. The last PPI inflation report was high. It wasn't low. So we're probably seeing it because of a high PPI inflation report makes people fearful of PCE now. As expected is my guess. Maybe it's flat. As expected would be a win, I think. You know, under 3% expected for both of them. We show up as expected. I think that's a win. And I think that's going to signal much more likelihood of rate cuts in September. So if we get a reasonable inflation report today, I think that is all but going to confirm September rate cut. Is my guess. What do you guys think? Do you guys think if we get reasonable inflation data today, we're going to cut rates in September?
GMHS.
Let me know. Alright guys, we're getting close here. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. NASDAQ's chopping sideways at this point in time. Gold's moving up a little bit ahead of inflation data. And remember, gold moves up because inflation, it can be hedged. Yields have been a little bit higher today. Yeah, during the 1970s, inflation spike, gold soared from about $35 an ounce to $800 an ounce by 1980. So, gold currently is at about $3,500 an ounce. It's a wild increase, though, from 1971 all the way up to 1980. Gold increased from $35 an ounce to $800 an ounce by 1980. So a lot of the time, gold and inflation move higher. If gold's spiking up, maybe it means people are fearful of high inflation data.
ARGOPA.
Again, the report drops in about 8.5 minutes, 7 minutes, really.
NUKK. OPAD.
Marginally higher, Franco,
and
maybe.
UKK.
See. 25 basis points September cut, maybe. Not if jobs are down. If jobs are down, they're going to cut rates more likely. A weak labor report means you need to cut rates more, not less.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Like high payrolls, you know,
SSKN.
high jobs, you know, low unemployment, strong labor report, strong jobs. That would encourage a rate cut, not discourage it. Just to put that into perspective. If it's higher, that could increase the chance of rate cuts, right? If inflation is higher, no, that's the opposite. If inflation's higher, it decreases the odds of rate cuts because stimulating the economy through rate cuts might make people spend more, businesses expand more, and inflation ultimately go higher, not lower. That's why Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies want rate cuts, right? They want QE. I don't think we should do QE at all. I think QE is a terrible idea. Not unless we see some really big labor market weakness and GDP pullbacks. I don't think we should do quantitative easing at all. We're still doing tightening. We'll see. 7 minutes here. All right, guys. 7 minutes. Again, put it in 2x speed and hit the live button. You'll be right here when it goes live. Right here. Again, PCE inflation today is expected. Headline PCE expected at 0.2%. Core PCE expected. Actually, I think that's opposite. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, right. Headline PCE actually expected at 0.2% on the month and 2.6% on the year. Core PCE expected at 0.3% month over month and 2.9%. They're both expected under 3%, but I've seen a couple people say it. I think 3% is the level. If we're over 3, I think that's bad. I think markets might not like it. You never know, though. We can do anything here. But if we're over 3, I think that's bad. Regardless of what the market does, over 3 is not good. Not good, personally. Does it increase inflation? It depends on how bad inflation is and how weak employment is. So those are two contradictory things, right? The Fed cutting rates stimulates the economy, makes inflation worse. To a certain degree. QE makes it much worse, generally. That's one way the Fed can combat like a weak labor market is by cutting interest rates, stimulating the economy. Raising interest rates will kind of push the economy down a little bit, but combat inflation, lower inflation. And so those are the two things the Fed can do, right? And their job is to maintain balance. They have their dual mandate, which is like low inflation and like a strong labor market, you know. But that's kind of like they want their cake and eat it too. They have their cake and eat it too. It's kind of that dynamic. The best of both worlds. Hard to do. If we can be under 3% for inflation, that's reasonable. You know, 2% is their target, sure, but if we can be under 3, I think that's reasonable. But yeah, here we go. We got 5 minutes, chat.
OPAD.
Yeah, but I think the last 5 years we've been different. Regardless of what China's doing in terms of printing, if they're in a printing cycle, regardless of that, the past 5 years we had 2020, lockdowns, stimulus checks, supply chain problems. All of these things contributed to massive inflation issues. And you hear a lot of people that are unhappy yelling that we're in a recession. We're not in a recession. Prices are just up drastically relative to where they were pre-2020. That's why most people are still unhappy, and prices don't necessarily go down, they just slow down. And so
OPAD.
going through another QE cycle is going to start that process over again, and people are really going to be unhappy at the end of it. Despite, you know, of course, people that are investing in Bitcoin and crypto, they want that, right? But I'll say it once and I'll say it again, and I'm not against you. I hold Bitcoin. I hold other cryptocurrencies. I hold altcoins. If Bitcoin goes up, but inflation spikes up, is that really a win? You know, because you're paying more for everything now. And so is that really a win? That's the question I'll ask you. Like, I get it. People want all this economic stimulus to boost their Bitcoin holdings, and I get it. But I'm not necessarily there with you. Like, I would rather inflation be stable for 5 years plus instead of causing more inflation problems, if that makes sense. 2.5 years. Or 2.5...
TER.
3.5 minutes left. 3.5 minutes. Yeah, well, QE will help. Yeah, bringing interest rates down. QE will help bring interest rates down faster. That might help with mortgage rates, sure. House prices will probably go up, though. But again, we could end QT and get a similar reaction. It's not going to be as good as QE, but we could end the tightening, which would help bring mortgage rates down without necessarily having to print.
And UKK.
Does that make sense? So, like, that's a possibility, too. But it's subjective what you guys think we should do. Again, we got less than 3 minutes here, chat. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I don't know how the market's going to respond today. Again, hit the live button, put it in 2x speed. Make sure you're caught up to the stream here. We got 2.5 minutes left. 2.5 minutes left. Vote on the poll. Let me know how you feel. And yeah.
TER.
Let's do this.
And UKK.
OPAD.
All right, guys, remember, core PC month over month expected at 0.2%. Previously, it showed up at 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. 0.3% last time. The previous 0.3%.
And UKK.
Yeah, so core PC year over year is expected at 0.3%. Previous of
OPAD.
What did core show up?
NUKK.
Yeah, previous 0.3%. Okay. Yeah, PC mother of the month.
And UKK.
It's expected
TER.
at 0.2%. No, core PC mother of the month is expected at 0.3. Right? Yeah. PC mother of the month expected at 0.2%. All right, guys, we got 1 minute.
OPAD. NUKK.
Here we go. Get ready.
TER.
All right, guys, here we go. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. The timer's a little bit early, guys. 30 seconds.
NUKK.
Again, guys, the timer's a little bit early. Let's do this.
TER.
All right, guys, there's the data. The data showed up at PCE showed up 0.3% as expected, 2.9% for core as expected. Everything showed up as expected today for inflation data, as expected. Again, it showed up at 2.6% year over year for headline, 2.9% for core. Everything showed up as expected, 0.2%.
TER. Again,
0.3% for core as expected. Core PCE year over year showed up at 2.9%, right? Let me see to make sure. Yeah, core PCE 2.9%. Versus 2.9% expected. Everything showed up completely flat today, and the market sees this as a win right now. Again, core PC month over month 0.2% versus 0.2% expected. Everything showed up as expected. Core PC or regular PC year over year showed up at 2.6% versus 2.6% expected here. So as expected.
SOLT.
ETH.
IFRX.
CRCA.
All right, market is reacting incredibly positive to this
RGTI.
report as well. Incredibly positive to this as well.
IFRX.
Way better than expected. Inflation data, as expected. Again, nothing was over 3%, which is a massive win here. Nothing's over 3%.
OPAD.
Everything was flat, as expected.
TER.
And yeah, this is pretty good numbers here. Pretty good numbers. Again, PCE data. Core PC price index 0.3 versus 0.3. Last time was 0.3. So here's the data on screen. I'll put it up. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move, guys. This doesn't mean we're going to continue moving up today. It does not mean we're going to continue to move up. Again, 2.9 versus 2.9, 2.8% last time. So it does not mean we're going to keep moving up. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move.
OPAD.
ETH.
But yeah, here's the data on screen here for core PCE.
TER.
Headline was as expected as well. Yeah, there we go.
OPAD.
All right, guys, we got a spike up there at 650, but again, the data was pretty good today. Pretty good. Better than a lot of people expected. A lot of people
OPEN.
expected. Again, you can see the data scrolling on the bottom of the screen. NASDAQ's reacting positively. And like I said, I think if we show up under 3%, I think if we show up as expected today, that's a win. I think that's what the market wants. That's what the market sees. If we can show up not elevated today versus last time as well as versus expectation, that's a win. If we take a look at yields and how they're initially reacting to this, they're down. So you can see yields are decreasing from this, showing a lower interest rate sentiment, right? This is all but going to confirm a September cut, in my opinion. I think this is all but going to confirm a September cut. Let's see if the odds of rate cuts are moving. They usually move with yields. We haven't seen much movement outside of this, though, so odds are still the same, 85-15. But yeah.
NAIL.
Again, core PCE, month over month, 0.3% versus 0.3%.
UP.
Core PCE year over year, 2.9 versus 2.9, 2.8% last time. Core PCE month over month, 2.6 versus 2.6. PCE month over month, 2.2 versus 0.2. Everything flat. Good trades balance for July did show up a little bit more negative, which means that we are importing a little bit more than expected. That we're importing a little bit more than expected versus exporting, the ratio there. But the NASDAQ, again, on PCE data is up big. Yeah, we'll see if it's revised. It could be revision.
UP.
And so, again, this is what I'm trying to say.
IFRX.
Guaranteed they're going to dump it at during market open. Didn't you guarantee that we would crash on this data and that it would be high?
RGTI.
Maybe it wasn't you. I don't know. It could be somebody else, but I mean, I can go back and check the chat. But again, relatively good data here. Relatively good data. reasonable data. The VIX is down, gold is up, NASDAQ is up, NVIDIA is up. Doesn't mean we're going to hold.
UP. DFDV.
The world's first titanium nonstick pan.
GMHS.
And blow your hair back.
OKLL.
I'm Mike McGale.
And it is time for the hot topic of the hour. Ousted Fed Governor Lisa Cook has another issue to contend with this morning, as Federal Housing Director Bill Pulte has filed a second criminal referral, alleging a third case of mortgage fraud. Pulte making this post last night, starting it off with 3 strikes and you're out. He's alleging that she received a 15-year mortgage on a condo in Cambridge, Massachusetts in April of 2021, listing it as her second home. 8 months later, she listed this property on a government ethics form as an investment/rental property. Now, Pulte says she may have gotten lower rates to secure a lower second home mortgage rate. He also says she misrepresented her Atlanta home as her primary residence between 2022 and now, even with evidence that she had been actually renting it out the whole time. Now, all this is coming after Cook sued President Trump and the Fed Board of Governors over her firing. She is claiming the president has no authority to remove her. Her lawyers are hammering the president's decision in the lawsuit instead of attacking the allegations directly. On one page, even saying, quote, the president and Director Pulte have not even alleged explicitly that Ms. Cook benefited from any clerical error or that such error was intentional. Cook's case is going to be heard by U.S. District Judge Gia Cobb. This is a Biden-appointed judge who earlier this month issued a block on the Trump administration's rapid deportation of thousands of illegals that had previously been out on parole. John Lotsky, there's a lot to go here through with you right now, but one thing that I think is interesting here is that, and this is something the editorial board brings up today, if Bill Pulte is basically, digging through mortgage records, where were the regulators? Fannie, Freddie, the lenders. These are pretty easy things to find, especially if you've got 2 primary residences. Her ethics obviously is another side of the story as well.
Yeah, it brings into question the vetting process as to her becoming a member of the Board of Governors. You wonder how this slipped through the cracks. Let's not forget that in the past, we've had situations arise with alleged trading irregularities with a couple of regional bank presidents, as well as a vice chairman of the Federal Reserve, where in these 3 cases, these individuals chose to go ahead and resign. And later on, they found out that they really weren't guilty of any violations in terms of the law. So it is, a little bit odd, strange that Lisa Cook is not resigning because of this on her own volition.
Trump says you are fired. She says, I am not leaving my post. And I want to bring in Todd Pyro into the conversation and get kind of your legal brain on, if you don't mind for a second. We talked about this earlier this week on your program, Todd, with regards to Lisa Cook and this issue of cause. One of the things in her lawsuit that she filed last night, she's accusing President Trump of concocting a basis for her firing in violation of the Federal Reserve Act, which is the president must show cause to remove any Fed governors. His move, she says, she's alleging, represented an extraordinary attack on the central bank's independence. So it's all going back to this issue of cause. And the reason that there's so many question marks about this and the legalities of it is because this is unprecedented. We've never in the history of our nation had a president fire a Fed governor.
And I'm not going to sit here and say I understand the laws of the Fed and everything that flows from that. But I do understand the basic law of when you accuse somebody of concocting, that is going to open up a whole plethora of discovery that needs to be done on both sides. And that's why that's such a risky lawsuit by her, is because everything's now going to be out in the open, as much as everything can be out in the open in federal court. And federal court likes to keep things pretty close to the vest. But this is dangerous for her because Everything will be laid out on the table for the court. My gut tells me she made this decision to sue because she knew it would get to a favorable D.C. court or a favorable district court in D.C. where the judges want to rule in her favor and against the Trump administration, no matter the case.
Yeah, no, D.C. federal court, and so this is U.S. District Judge Gia Cobb. She was appointed by Joe Biden in 2021. She also recently had, ruled against the Trump administration with deportation. So she has shown that she has pushed back against the Trump administration. That hearing's going to be today, actually, at 10 a.m. Eastern time, Todd. And the other thing, too, I wanted to ask you about is, with regards to all the maneuvers here, is that discovery process that you mentioned? Because, so there's an investigation. She's under investigation, but no charges have been filed against her. So can you legally bring in components of an investigation if no official charges have been filed against an individual?
She just opened the door with the lawsuit.
You're saying she opened the door to that, no matter what.
That's why it's a risky strategy.
Interesting.
And it's obviously what ultimately happens with the results of the discovery is different. Criminal is what we were originally talking about. Now this is a civil action. But nevertheless, the discovery's there, and that's why it's dangerous for her. The goal of the court system is, at the end of the day, to get to the truth. And one way or another, we're getting to the truth here with the discovery that will be involved.
Interesting. Yeah, Abby Lowe, by the way, is her attorney, who seems to be starting to represent everybody that President Trump disagrees with. John, you had another thought. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Well, you made an excellent point when you mentioned that Trump's action against Cook is unprecedented. We've never seen this happen in the past, and that's important to note because this brings attention to how Trump is trying to put together his own Federal Reserve Board, okay? He's trying to influence the Fed. And in part, the optics of this are not very good for Trump among those people that worry about the President of the United States wielding too much influence over monetary policy. People feel very uncomfortable with that. That being said, thus far, we haven't seen the financial markets respond negatively to this latest initiative by Trump.
Well, and also, too, the expectation is we are going to get a rate cut in, 2 weeks? Yeah. So it's
the depth of the rate cut.
Yeah,
are we, though? I thought, earlier this year, sitting on these panels with you, I thought it was a fait accompli. Now I listen to business news that it's like, well, maybe not. I'm like, what?
Well, I didn't say that, but that's just, I don't know. Because you only watch the show, I realize.
100%.
Got safety protocols? Grainger has the safety pros to call. Shop our vast inventory of safety products at Grainger.com. Call, click, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
NEO.
MOVE.
NEO.
NUKK. MOVE. SSKN.
IREN.
NUKK. MOVE.
BABX.
NUKK. MOVE.
RR.
YYAI. NUKK.
NUKK. BABX.
YYAI.
BABA. IREN.
MOVE.
MOVE. BABX.
MOVE.
MOVE. NUKK.
MOVE.
OPAD.
MOVE.
IREN. OPAD.
GMHS. GMHS.
OPAD.
NUKK.
NEO. CIFR. CIFR. OPAD. NEO. NUKK. RR.
NUKK.
OPAD. RR.
MOVE.
NUKK.
SOGP.
OPAD. NUKK. CIFR.
SOGP.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
CIFR. OPAD. CRCA. CIFR. OPAD. NUKK. CRCG. VNET. OPAD. BABA. IREN. CIFR. NUKK. CIFR. NUKK. RR. CIFR.
NUKK.
NUKK. RR.
EJH.
If you have pink salt, apple cider vinegar, and baking soda in your kitchen, and you're not using this recipe, you're missing out on one.
The United States approving a nearly $1 billion arms sale to Ukraine, including long-range missiles. This comes at a critical point in peace negotiations after Moscow launches a massive aerial assault against the country, killing more than 20 and damaging an EU building in the process. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on the president's response.
He was not happy about this news, but he was also not surprised. Perhaps both sides of this war are not ready to end it themselves. The president wants it to end, but the leaders of these two countries need it to end and want it to end, must want it to end as well.
Retired U.S. Navy captain and former U.S. military diplomat Brent Sadler joins me now. And Brent, we're having a meeting. Steve Witkoff is going to be meeting with individuals here in New York City from Ukraine to try and strategize. But I feel like we're a broken record at this point. We say this over and over again. There's this peace talk. There's this meeting. The problem is, no matter what Putin promises to Trump, it's a lie. It is an out-and-out lie. And Putin ultimately doesn't want to end this war. So what do we do, Brent?
Well, we have to change Putin's thinking, and the way we do that is by changing the dynamic on the battlefield and also his ability to sustain his war machine. And as far as sustaining his war machine, that's really cutting him off or causing his customers that are pumping lots of billions of dollars into his oil industry, like countries like India, who rightfully are looking on the open market for the best deal and where there's oil available. So secondary sanctions, that's being taken and put in place now. China, not only just buying Russian oil, but also supplying key industrial components, and have to find a way to actually make that too costly for the Chinese to continue. But until things change on the battlefield, there's not a whole lot of compellence to make Putin change his approach that he thinks he can get more by fighting than through negotiation.
Let's talk more about the sanctions, because Zelensky came out and said, obviously, we need stronger sanctions. What you've done so far is not working. I'll summarize that quote for you. But Putin has been able to withstand the 3.5 years of sanctions thus far. Is there a certain level of sanctions and involving other countries that Russia obviously relies on their money, their buying of Russian oil and the like? Is there a certain level that will wake him up and get him to the table, force his hand on this? Or is he really immune based upon how he has structured his country and his leadership structure?
Well, the short answer is yes to the sanctions. For far too long, there were loopholes, there were exceptions. European countries, because they had made themselves so reliant on Russian oil, they couldn't simply throw the switch. And during the Biden administration, there was a reticence to try to put more American petroleum on the market to allow these countries to get their needed energy from somewhere else other than Russia. This is why India is the second largest by a wide margin to any European country in buying Russian oil since 2022. Their trade went up 5-fold after the February 22 invasion. But it's, as far as China, those sanctions, those tariffs have been put on pause, so yet they're still not biting like they need to. But again, the most important point I want to make on this, the sanctions alone at this stage, after 4 years of fighting, the Russian war economy has been able to adjust in many ways. So it's going to take also pressure on the battlefield, as well as closing these long-standing gaps in the sanctions regime.
Yeah, understood. If I'm the American viewer watching this at home, I'm thinking, we've had this discussion. We could have re-racked an interview that you and I did 6 months ago, a year ago. It's just like we're going around in circles. We want an end to it. And I think at this point, we just need to do whatever it takes to end this or force Putin's hand. And your suggestions are warranted. Meantime, France, Germany, and the UK reimposing, I should say, United Nations snapback sanctions on Iran over its nuclear program. Quick definition of a snapback sanction. This would reimpose the UN sanctions that were in place on Iran prior to 2015. Will this have any meaningful impact, Brent?
It definitely slowed down that regime's ability to export terror and so discourse through all of its proxies, but thanks to Israel's very successful campaign against Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Iran itself, that regime is on its back foot. So it's no surprise that the sanctions are going to go right back to where they were when Trump stepped back out of the JCPOA. And when the European nations were threatening to go back to doing business as usual, it's good to see that we're putting all the pressure back in place. But again, that military hammer is also required from time to time, such as the strikes that President Trump launched in order to set back that nuclear regime and to make clear to Iran there's going to be a cost if they try to use their limited resources, even under a sanction regime, to go back and reconstitute their nuclear enterprise.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think in all these stories, we need the sanctions, yes, but we also need that military might, that hammer, that threat of a hammer, or in the Iran case, the hammer itself. Brent Sadler, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Did you know the Farmer's Dog has a whole team of veterinary nutritionists? To put it into perspective, out of over 100,000 veterinarians in the U.S., only around 100 are board certified in nutrition. That's less than 0.1%. To become a veterinary nutritionist, veterinarians must complete a rigorous process, including a residency, publishing original research, and passing a comprehensive examination administered by the American College of Veterinary Internal Medicine. So why does this matter? At the Farmer's Dog, our vet nutritionists use their expertise and research to craft formulas that support dogs at every life stage and provide valuable guidance for feeding dogs with specific health needs, ensuring your pet gets the right food for a long, healthy life. With their specialized knowledge, a veterinary nutritionist provides the best care when it comes to your pet's nutrition, and that's our top priority here at the Farmer's Dog.
EJH.
NUKK. RR. OPAD.
IPDN.
VNET. IPDN.
EJH. SMX.
We're getting along very well with China. And I'm getting along very well with President Xi. I think it's very insulting to say students can't come here because they'll go out and they'll start building schools and they'll be able to survive it. But I like that their students come here. I like that other countries' students come here. You take out 300,000 or 600,000 students out of the system. I like having, and I told this to President Xi, that we're honored to have their students here. But we have a tremendous college system, the best in the world, nobody even close. That's why China sends them here.
So the White House is now clarifying those comments made by President Trump about welcoming nearly 600,000 Chinese students into American university. The White House saying this, quote, President Trump isn't proposing an increase in student visas for Chinese students. The 600,000 reference 2 years worth of visas. It's simply a continuation of the existing policy. I want to bring in Asian Studies Center Senior Research Fellow for China and National Security Policy, Steve Yates. Steve, it's great to see you again. And we had Heritage President Kevin Roberts on yesterday, and he said he really disagreed with the president on this. He didn't want to see, the 600,000 number, this flood of Chinese students coming in. But now the White House is walking it back. What do you say?
Well, first, I appreciate Kevin really clearly stating what some of our concerns are. I think the number was surprising to a lot of Americans. It was surprising to me, too, in the sense that really it's not the number, it's who are the people that are coming to the United States? What exactly are they studying? And for those who are violating the privilege of being here on an academic visa, what is our system and vetting to make sure that that is resolved, like sent them home? And that, I think, is some of the positive signs that we've seen from the Trump administration, from the Department of State and Homeland Security. And so I think there was a little bit of a shock of hearing the number, but really, if we have the ability to make sure we're not raising the next generation of tech and engineering experts in China who can and will use that capability against us competing economically or worse in the national security space, well then yes, if Chinese students want to come and learn how to honor freedom and build up humanity, there's no harm in going through the liberal arts program.
Well, something I brought up with him yesterday, though, is, we had this story that came out about this Chinese doctor who had a laptop full of stolen cancer research. He was at MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. Now, he got caught at the airport. He didn't make it out of the country, but he was taking all of the stolen cancer research and taking it back to China. That's just one example in hundreds of examples, maybe thousands that we've seen of Chinese nationals being in this country and doing nefarious activities to either harm us specifically or take intellectual property back to China. That hasn't really changed. Their objective has not changed.
MU.
No, that's one of the hard truths, that the Communist Party of China has a way of doing business. It's not like what we would assume it is. You're absolutely right that when it comes to the visa abuse, whether it's overstays or coming for purposes that are not your stated purpose, violating our laws or putting our people in danger or stealing our intellectual property, all of those things have been happening, and that is an abuse of the privilege of coming to the United States for education or research. There's famous examples of mysterious labs, the fungus that was trying to get smuggled into Michigan. These are abuse, and unfortunately, when you have very, very high numbers of people coming, you have a capacity challenge for the United States on counterintelligence and homeland security. And I think we have to put American people's interests first in this, and I have high trust in the Trump administration to do that. But I think it still needs to be balanced out a bit in this academic access issue.
I mean, there's not much that's bipartisan anymore, but I think the threat from China still is bipartisan in Washington. Actually, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced that the Pentagon's not going to allow Chinese nationals to work as coders on DoD cloud systems anymore. A Biden-Obama-era program previously did allow these Chinese developers to work as digital escorts in a role modeled by Microsoft, where foreign nationals remain under the supervision of remote U.S. contractors. Here's what the Defense Secretary said about all this.
The use of Chinese nationals to service Department of Defense cloud environments, it's over. We've issued a formal letter of concern to Microsoft documenting this breach of trust, and we're requiring a third-party audit of Microsoft's digital escort program, including the code and the submissions by Chinese nationals. Did they put anything in the code that we didn't know about? We're going to find out.
IPDN. And Microsoft is now responding to the DoD's move. They say, quote, Microsoft has terminated the use of any China-based engineering teams for DoD cloud systems. We will continue to collaborate with the U.S. government to ensure we're meeting their expectations. We remain committed to providing the most secure services possible to the U.S. government, including working with our national security partners to evaluate and adjust our security protocols as needed. Steve, what do you make of this move?
Well, it's definitely a step in the right direction. This is what happens when you allow your Defense Department and defense industries to be distracted with globalism and the woke mind virus, where we had politics reigning supreme in too many areas. Things like this happen. But in a world where we truly believe the greatest threat to the American way of life comes from the potential of the Communist Party of China, we have to put first containing those malign influences and making sure that we have systems, especially national security defense systems, that are safe from that supply chain, as the good congressman in your previous segment was highlighting.
Yeah. Before you go, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russia's Vladimir Putin are going to be among more than a dozen foreign leaders attending China's massive military parade next week in Beijing. Now, this is part of China's commemoration to mark the 80th anniversary of World War II ending following Japan's surrender. But these three leaders together, I mean, this is just missing Iran here, the axis of evil.
Well, this is, I think, some political manipulation of the highest order. It's what you come to expect from communist parties. I mean, really, just take in for a moment, the Communist Party of China actually retreated and allowed Chinese citizens to suffer during World War II, and then criticized the nationalist government that was expelled that went to Taiwan. And so this is kind of the height of chutzpah for them to be celebrating a victory they not only didn't contribute to, but maybe prolonged the war. And to have these leaders gather as some kind of counter-authoritarian coalition the way the winning side of World War II was also is a little bit misleading. But it's political theater. We should recognize it. Just don't give them the credit they're seeking as being the Middle Kingdom center of the world. They have been fueling Russia's war machine and enabling proliferation for a time. They conducted biological warfare on the world with COVID and need to be held accountable for the things they do.
Steve Yates, it's always great to speak with you on all these topics. Really appreciate it.
All right, this feels almost illegal to know, but our windows were so old and just desperately needed to be replaced. So I called a few contractors, but they all quoted me a hefty $10,000 or more for new windows, and I almost lost it. That's when my friend, who's a realtor, stopped me and said,
Well, Russia has launched an attack on Kyiv, leaving at least now 21 people dead that we know about, the worst death toll in the capital since the Alaska summit between President Trump and Putin just 2 weeks ago. Joining us now is General Jack Keane, Fox News senior strategic analyst. It also, by the way, not only 2 weeks after the meeting in Alaska, but it comes just a day before a Ukrainian delegation is going to be coming to New York to meet with a D.C. delegation as well. I mean, it really, I mean, the worst thing is the death toll in Ukraine itself, but it is also, is it not, a message to Trump from Putin?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think so, David. I mean, the pattern is pretty clear now. I mean, Putin has been involved in negotiations for 6 months. And the reality is he talks peace. I'm assuming he's very convincing in his discussions with Special Envoy Witkoff and with the president and his team when he's met with them in person and also on the phone. And that's one thing. But while he's talking peace, he obviously makes war. And his focus of the war, even though he's trying to take territory in the Donbass region, which is his major ground offensive, in the last 2 years, he's only increased his occupation of Ukraine territory by 1%.
Yeah.
So not a major success there, small tactical gains. But what he has done is escalated the war against the people of Ukraine. And that's the evidence of last night. And it's horrific. It is a war crime. There's not a single military target that those over 600 drones almost and 31 missiles were fired into Ukraine. Not one single military target. And it is making war on the people. Children are being killed, parents are being killed, grandparents are being killed here. And it is punishing and unrelenting. And he really wants to break their will. And he also wants to wear down the United States, our leadership, and also the European leaders. He hasn't given up on his strategic objectives one bit, David.
No.
To take control of Ukraine and expand into Europe. And we got to face the facts. That's where he is. I don't think he wants to go to a ceasefire because I think it means he gives up his leverage. As long as he's making war, he has leverage in an attempt to get concessions. President Trump wants to go to a ceasefire. Zelensky, 5 months ago, said, yes, I'll go to an unconditional ceasefire. The people of Ukraine want a ceasefire and an end to the war. Overwhelming majority, for sure. There's only one person here that doesn't want it. And we know who it is. And it's Putin. And he's a thug and he's a killer.
General, isn't it time for a maximum pressure economic campaign against Russia, the likes of which we saw in the first administration against Iran, but specifically now? I mean, it is so clear that he's not going to do anything to stop his actions. If anything, he's ratcheting it up and targeting it at times of strategic importance for the peace plan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're there. The president has demonstrated enormous patience here. He clearly is determined to see if he can get peace here. And the fact that he's been at it for as long as he has and putting up with Putin and swallowing some of the stuff he has to do with dealing with him. I mean, he knows the guy's lying to him. He's got more experience dealing with Putin than any president we've had. So that's the reality of it. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Maximum sanctions. Hopefully we have told them what those sanctions we intend to do with them privately, and they should crush him. But also, we should unleash as much offensive weapons for Ukraine to use in deep attack into Russia, all military targets. They've taken down 17 to 20% of the oil refineries, and give them as much capability as we can to stop Russia's offense that he's doing on the front lines cold, and also give him some added capability to help take back some territory.
Well,
the three of those things together gets his attention.
There were just a couple, I believe it was last night, Ukraine struck a couple of oil refineries inside of Russia. Are they having any effect in slowing up the advance? I mean, these targets are strategic, but is it anything more than a pinprick for Russia?
It has impacted their capabilities. They've reduced their capabilities between 17 and 20%. So that's why Ukraine continues to target them. And so our audience understand that is a legitimate military target. Yeah. Oil refineries, oil sustains an army on a battlefield. And the Russians demonstrated to the Germans during World War II, if I can take on your logistic infrastructure, I can slow your advance down and maybe actually stop it. And they were able to do that.
Finally, I want to ask about the Middle East, in particular Gaza. Is Hamas still in control of Gaza? And who is supporting Hamas at this point? I mean, we have this coalition of Arab states willing to move the path forward on the Abraham Accords. Are they still getting money from the Saudis or from Qatar or wherever? Because it seems like except for the United Nations, which still works with Hamas, I don't know who else they're getting support from.
Well, two things. One, they're still in control, and that is what this operation that the Israelis, this campaign they want to conduct in Gaza. They're moving the people away and threatening a campaign to take control, finally, of the remaining fighters and leaders who were there in the northern and central part of Gaza. Secondly, Iran is certainly providing them with support, funding, and their ability to get weapons to them, though, is pretty dried up. And that's very challenging because they no longer own the transshipment through Syria and also through Egypt and smuggling in from the south. So that's a problem for them. I think Qatar, I don't know for a fact, but knowing their history, I suspect they're still providing them finances. And there are likely some other countries out there are doing it. But I don't know. I haven't had a briefing on that in some time. I'm assuming they still have some financial reserves left. So I don't think money is much of an issue. And that's why they want the food. They take that food, and the fact that the UN is saying they don't have any evidence of that is just absolute nonsense.
Absolutely.
They take that food systematically, and they turn it into a black market revenue for them from the very people that need the food.
Yeah.
That's how horrific that is.
What is really horrific is the United States taxpayer is spending money on the UN while they are cooperating much more closely with Hamas than they ever have with Israel, who is bringing a lot of stuff in, but it doesn't get to the people because Hamas finds its way to be the middleman in the whole routine. General Jack Keane, I wish we had more time.
Do you know? Let me add one thing. Do you know that Israel told the UN people, we would be willing to escort your food in so that no one interferes with it. The UN said no to that because we want to be objective and we don't want to be one-sided.
Yeah, right, as if they're not one-sided with Hamas. All right, General, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in.
IPDN.
UPST.
IPDN.
IPDN. UPST.
IPDN.
IPDN. UPST.
IPDN.
IPDN.
IPDN. SOGP. EVOK. SOGP.
IPDN.
SOGP. ALLR. CWD.
IPDN.
SOGP. ALLR. WOOF. CWD.
BABA.
IPDN.
BABX. AFRM. CWD. ONDS. LRCX. ONDS.
BABO. CCLD.
NXE. UEC.
DUO. YDES. NEO. IPDN. NBY. AMBA.
NEO. NBY. AMBA. UUUU.
NXE. DFSC.
CCJ, PSTG,
SEGG,
VNET, NXE, ANET,
NBY, IPDN, AMBA,
NBY,
SFWL, YDES,
BABX,
NEO,
ATYR, AMBA, AMDL,
CCLD, SEGG,
NEO, PSTG, AFRM, IONQ, IREN, THAR, DNN,
DNN, SKBL,
CIFR,
NBY, IPDN, AMBA, IREN, YDES, NEO,
NXE,
AFRM,
IPDN, OPEN,
SKBL,
DNN,
IPDN, NBY, AMBA,
IREN, CIFR,
IREN, MOVE,
RZLV,
NEO,
AFRM,
AFRM, SMX,
IPDN,
NUKK, YDES, SKBL, IPDN, IREN,
CIFR,
MOVE, NBY, AFRM,
RMTI,
RMTI, SMX,
OPEN,
NUKK,
DNN, IREN,
IPDN, IREN,
AFRM, CIFR,
MOVE, DFSC,
DPRO,
NBY,
NUKK,
YDES, DUO, RMTI,
RMTI,
NUKK,
IPDN, IREN, NEO,
MOVE,
ADSK,
QMMM,
NUKK, RMTI, ALTS,
YYAI, NUKK, YDES, MOVE, OPAD,
MOVE, NB,
YYAI, NUKK, MVLL,
ALTS, RMTI,
MOVE,
NEO, THAR,
SOGP, FTHM,
FUBO, MOVE, GROY,
YYAI, OPAD, QMMM, IFRX, SPRY, OMEX, MOVE,
THAR, OMEX,
IPDN, OPAD,
AFRM,
DFSC, SPRY,
YDES, SMX, FUBO.
MOVE. YDES. OMEX.
OPEN. THAR. PGEN.
DFSC. YDES. SKBL.
YDES. ASST. THAR. BABX. SMCZ.
IFRX. OMEX.
OMEX.
YDES.
YDES.
THAR. SKBL.
MSOS. PLTZ. YDES halted. YDES will resume at 9 hours 41 minutes and 46 seconds. RMTI.
ANTE.
ANTE. NBY.
YDES. THAR. SKBL.
PLTZ.
WYHG.
AVTR.
IPDN. GMHS. OPAD. ANTE.
ANTE.
NBY.
NBY.
SOGP.
MOVE.
MOVE.
Anti-halted. ANTE will resume at 9 hours 42 minutes and 46 seconds.
IPDN.
RR.
GMHS. OPAD. ANTE. WYHG. NBY. SOGP. PXLW. MOVE. RR. IPDN.
MOVE. RR.
OPAD.
OPAD. PLTZ.
MOVE. RR. IPDN.
MOVE. RR.
OPAD.
NVD. SOXS. NUKK halted. NUKK will resume at 9 hours 43 minutes and 59 seconds.
RR. IPDN.
OPAD. RR. PLTZ.
OPAD.
BBY. MDB. MSTZ. NVD. OPAD. YDES may resume in less than a minute.
OPAD.
GROY. MSTZ. ETHD. BW. SMCZ. NVD. PLTZ. UP.
IPDN.
IPDN. BILL. NTNX. OPAD. GROY. ANTE may resume in less than a minute.
IPDN.
IPDN. YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 9 hours 46 minutes and 18 seconds. OPAD. BILL. VSCO.
INHD. IPDN.
UP. IPDN. DUO.
INHD. IPDN.
NUKK may resume in less than a minute. GROY.
GMHS. BNC.
SMX. DUO. UP.
CWD. MOVE. GMHS. BNC.
DUO. BNC. UP.
GMHS.
IPDN. DOOO.
IPDN.
DUO. UP. VKTX. FTHM.
GMHS.
SNDK.
SKBL. NUKK.
UP.
SOGP.
YYAI may resume in less than a minute. SNDK. DUO. CRWG. YDES may resume in less than a minute. TSLQ. CRWV. SNDK. PLTZ. NVD. ETHD.
GMHS.
DUO.
IPDN. SOGP.
SMX.
SMX. GMHS.
PLTZ. TSLQ. TSDD. ANTE may resume in less than a minute. SMX.
SMX.
ETHD. NVD.
GMHS.
PLTZ. SNDK. SMX. TSLQ.
SMX. GMHS.
PLTZ. SMX. ANTE.
ANTE. DRMA. SMX.
FUBO.
ANTE.
ANTE. OPEN. Anti-halted. ANTE will resume at 9 hours 53 minutes and 9 seconds.
MOVE. DRMA. YYAI. SOGP. ANTE.
ANTE. SEDG. SMX. OPEN.
YYAI. MOVE. SOGP.
NEO.
ANTE.
ANTE.
SMX.
SMX. OPEN.
YYAI. SOGP. GMHS. CWD.
ANTE.
IPDN.
OPEN. XNET. CRCG. YDES may resume in less than a minute. OPEN. CRCL. BW. MARA. CRCA. CRCG. DFDV. OPEN. FUBO. CRCL. CRCA. CRCG. YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 9 hours 56 minutes and 49 seconds. CRC may resume in less than a minute.
IPDN. SKBL. SMX.
SMX. SKBL.
SOGP.
BW. DFDV.
SKBL.
SKBL. CWD. RLMD.
MOBX. SKBL. CWD. SOGP.
SOGP. CWD. BW. BABX. CRCG. BABA. CRCL. INHD.
CWD. SOGP.
CWD.
IPDN. CWD. SOGP. IPDN.
BW. UVIX. Anti-halted. ANTE will resume at 9 hours 58 minutes and 38 seconds. OPEN. BW. DUO.
IPDN.
YDES may resume in less than a minute. YYAI may resume in less than a minute. PLTZ. CRCL.
IPDN.
DUO. UVIX.
SMX. DUO.
DUO. MSTZ. SOXS. CRCL.
IPDN.
TSLQ.
DUO.
UVIX.
SKBL.
SOXS.
IPDN.
ETHD. ANTE may resume in less than a minute. UVXY. RERE. MSTZ.
IPDN.
OPEN.
SKBL. IPDN.
YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
DUO.
OPEN. ASST. DUO.
IPDN.
MVLL.
DUO.
MRVL. ASST. MSTZ. OPEN.
IPDN. SKBL.
MVLL.
DUO.
BABA.
ENVXW.
DUO. BABX.
IPDN. MSOX.
OPEN.
DUO.
MVLL. MRVL.
IPDN. MSOX.
YDES may resume in less than a minute. OPEN. QMMM.
DUO.
IPDN. MVLL. MRVL. BABA.
MSOX. IPDN. DUO.
YYAI may resume in less than a minute. IPDN.
IPDN. QMMM. DUO.
IPDN. BABX. BABA.
IPDN. INEO. IFRX.
IFRX. ANTE may resume in less than a minute.
SSKN.
TSLQ. UVIX.
MOVE. DUO. SSKN.
SSKN. DUO. PLTZ. UVIX.
DUO. MOVE.
SOXS.
IPDN.
YYAI halted. IPDN. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 8 minutes and 9 seconds.
SSKN.
FNGD.
DUO. IPDN.
IPDN.
SSKN.
SOXS. TSLQ. ETHD. UVIX. UVXY.
DUO. IPDN.
TSDD. Anti-halted. ANTE will resume at 10 hours 9 minutes and 1 second. UVIX. UVXY. TSLQ. SOXS. DQ. TSDD. YDES may resume in less than a minute.
IPDN.
UVIX. UVXY. TSDD. SOXS. ETHD. UVIX. IONZ. UVXY.
IPDN.
IPDN. DQ. TSLQ.
SOGP.
ETHD. MSTZ. UVXY. YYAI may resume in less than a minute. DQ.
DUO. SOGP.
DUO. IONZ. DQ.
DUO.
ANTE may resume in less than a minute.
IPDN.
IPDN.
YYAI.
DUO.
DUO. TGHL.
TGHL. IONZ. TSLQ. TSDD.
YYAI.
DUO.
DUO.
IPDN.
IPDN. TGHL.
TGHL. UVXY. NVD. TSLQ. SMCZ.
QMMM.
SOXS.
YYAI. IPDN.
IPDN.
TGHL.
TGHL. TGHL halted.
QMMM.
TGHL will resume at 10 hours 13 minutes and 59 seconds. YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 13 minutes and 42 seconds.
IPDN. TGHL.
TGHL. TSLQ.
Investing in crypto on eToro is easy. No need to worry about exchanges, wallets, passwords.
EN.
TSDD. IPDN. YDES may resume in less than a minute. TSLQ. SOXS.
IPDN.
HUYA.
JXG.
IPDN.
IPDN.
SOXS. IONZ.
IPDN.
PLCE. TSLQ. SOXS. IPDN. TSDD.
IPDN.
YYAI may resume in less than a minute. YDES halted. YDES will resume at 10 hours 16 minutes and 41 seconds. TGHL may resume in less than a minute. VXX ANTE may resume in less than a minute. UVIX. TSLQ. TSDD.
IPDN.
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 RLMD. IPDN. TGHL. IPDN halted. IPDN will resume at 10 hours 18 minutes and 51 seconds.
RLMD. DUO.
IPDN.
MOBX.
DUO.
ANTE. IPDN. MOBE. RLMD. DUO.
IPDN.
ENVXW.
YYAI halted. YYAI will
IPDN.
resume at 10 hours 18 minutes and 59 seconds. ETHD.
DUO.
TSLQ. IPDN. IONZ. TSDD.
SMX.
YDES may resume in less than a minute. UVIX. MSTZ. SMST. SOXS. UVXY.
DUO.
VXX. ETHD. IONZ. TSDD.
NUKK.
ANTE halted. ANTE will resume at 10 hours 19 minutes and 53 seconds.
TGHL.
TGHL.
CWD. DUO. NUKK.
IONZ.
DUO.
HLF. DUO.
NUKK. RLMD. CWD. DUO. RLMD.
DUO. HLF. IPDN may resume in less than a minute.
DUO.
YYAI may resume in less than a minute.
SMX. OMEX.
TSDD.
DUO. SMX. OMEX.
ANTE may resume in less than a minute. TSLQ. HLF. IPDN.
OMEX.
RZLV.
IPDN.
TSLQ. IPDN.
OMEX. IPDN. ANTE.
RZLV.
SOGP.
YDES may resume in less than a minute.
RLMD.
YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 25 minutes and 8 seconds. BABX.
ANTE.
TGHL. BABA.
SOGP. ENVXW. RLMD. IPDN. ANTE.
BABX. FTRE. RLMD. TGHL.
RLMD. ENVXW. ANTE.
VSAT.
IPDN.
TGHL.
YDES. RLMD. IPDN.
VSAT.
YDES.
BABA. BABX. PGEN.
YDES.
BABA. INHD. BABX. EQX.
IPDN.
PGEN. FSM. BW. YYAI may resume in less than a minute.
DUO. IPDN.
BABX. BABA.
BW.
IPDN. HLF. PGEN.
DUO. IPDN.
EQX. GGLL. BABX. BABA.
DUO. DUO.
GDXU. IONZ.
RLMD.
BABX.
SMX.
RLMD.
RLMD.
BABX.
IPDN. SMX.
SMX. BABA.
RLMD. DUO.
BABX. RLMD. YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 31 minutes and 55 seconds.
ANTE. IPDN.
SSKN. BABX.
DUO. RLMD.
THH.
SSKN. IPDN.
BABX.
DUO.
BABA.
RLMD. IPDN. IPDN. SSKN.
BABX. BABA.
NUKK. IPDN. DUO.
BABX. YYAI may resume in less than a minute.
NUKK. DUO. RLMD. DUO.
EQX.
YYAI. SMX. RLMD. DUO.
EQX.
YYAI. SSKN. SMX. DUO.
BABX.
YYAI. SSKN. DUO. YYAI.
YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 38 minutes and 24 seconds.
YYAI. DUO.
DUO.
DUO. SOGP. ANTE. 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 GMHS. DUO. ANTE. GMHS. RLMD. GMHS.
JD.
RLMD.
YYAI may resume in less than a minute.
IPDN. ANTE. FLNT.
FLNT. OS. METC. JD. OS. TEM. JD. YYAI halted. METC. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 43 minutes and 59 seconds.
IPDN.
USAR.
IPDN.
YDES halted. YDES will resume at 10 hours 44 minutes and 48 seconds.
DUO. RLMD.
RKT.
IPDN.
JD. GRRR.
IPDN.
YYAI may resume in less than a minute. GRRR.
IPDN. IPDN.
YDES may resume in less than a minute. GRRR. CVM.
NXTT. YYAI. NXTT. YYAI. YDES. YYAI. IPDN.
YDES.
RLMD. YYAI. RLMD. IPDN. RLMD. IPDN. YYAI. ANTE. IPDN.
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 YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 51 minutes and 48 seconds.
IPDN. IPDN. NXTT. NXTT. NUKK.
METC. YYAI may resume in less than a minute. YDES halted. YDES will resume at 10 hours 55 minutes and 27 seconds.
NXTT. NUKK.
NVD.
DUO. GMHS. NXTT. NUKK. GMHS. NXTT. GMHS.
NVD.
NXTT.
YYAI halted. YYAI will resume at 10 hours 57 minutes and 30 seconds. NVD.
IPDN. NXTT.
YDES may resume in less than a minute.
IPDN. NXTT. NXTT.
CRMD.
IPDN.
It's not having access to 1 million industrial-grade products that's so amazing. It's the feeling of knowing you'll find.
We learn more about the victims and the shooter in Wednesday's attack at a Catholic school in Minneapolis. 2 young children killed when police say a gunman opened fire, shooting through the church's window, with 18 other people wounded. I do want to head back out live to Connor Hansen at Fox News. He has been live out there following all of the latest developments. Good morning, Connor. What is the latest information that we have received so far from investigators there?
Hi, Josh. And you can hear those church bells behind me right now from the Annunciation Catholic Church with a memorial outside and lots of flowers. But as for that investigation, we heard a lot more information yesterday from police and prosecutors. A lot of information that had kind of been floating around that was confirmed as they go through all of this evidence, which includes hundreds of pages of writings done by this suspect, this shooter. A lot of it deeply disturbing. The prosecutor describing it as hateful to many different groups, talking about things as disturbing as wanting to harm children. Again, this all out there along with an online manifesto posted to YouTube as they went on to carry out this horrific attack. So they'll still be processing a lot of that evidence for the foreseeable future here, but law enforcement insists they are taking this extremely seriously. The FBI investigating this shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime.
And Connor, I did want to ask you about the victims, because we've learned a lot from the father of one of the children who passed away, as well as some of the other family members of another. What have we learned about them?
Yeah, Josh, referencing the father of Fletcher Merkel, who was just 8 years old, one of the victims tragically in this shooting. He came out right in front of the church to speak to some of the media, saying he wanted his son to be remembered for his love of his family, his love of fishing, in a positive light, remembering his life and not his death. Just heartbreaking to watch parents go through this grief. We also learned the identity of the other child tragically killed here, 10-year-old Harper Moisky. Her parents taking the opportunity to say they want to see some change here when it comes to gun violence and mental health issues. Hoping something can come from this horrible tragedy. People can make some progress here. There is still one child in critical condition in the hospital, several others too. We're kind of hearing those harrowing stories come out from hospital officials talking about how students and staff at the school protected other students, in some cases even covering them with their own bodies and getting hurt in the process. Those teachers and staff members helping guide students to safety, the police arriving in minutes and giving aid to all of those people who were hurt, and of course the staff, the nurses, the medical professionals who took care and are taking care of all of these victims.
And Connor, I did want to ask you, we talked a bit earlier on today where you could see the memorials that are set up, and I'm actually going to take this full so you can see just one of them. That's a live image. What are you seeing as far as people stopping by? Because a lot of these people are maybe from the community, but they don't know the victims. They just want to show support.
Yeah, that's right. Even right here in front of the church, there's just a huge outpouring of support, a huge amount of flowers, candles, people building crosses, writing messages in chalk. Just as the sun has been coming up here today, we've seen more and more people show up. Large crowds here yesterday, obviously locals, but some coming from far away just to pay their respects and kind of look at the memorial that's been set up here. There's been large-scale vigils as well, but even just being here in Minneapolis, Josh, you talk to so many people who have a connection to this church or to this school or to the neighborhood here or live nearby. It kind of touches so many more people than just the people who were immediately victimized by this horrific shooting.
All right, Connor Hansen, thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to join us. We appreciate your coverage here, and I'm sure we'll check in a bit later. Thank you again.
Thanks, Josh.
YYAI.
Most people are too lazy to do this, but it saves homeowners a fortune. I worked in construction for 20 years now, and it shocks me how many people pay a fortune
YYAI. IPDN. YYAI. IPDN.
A shocking arrest at the southern border. An American citizen is under arrest, charged with 4 counts of human smuggling. Texas Department of Public Safety exclusively sharing this video with Mornings with Maria. Troopers in Valverde County pull over a 29-year-old woman identified as Shakira Dominique Jordan from Mississippi. She was pulled over for speeding, then detained. In the car, 4 illegal aliens were discovered. Cops say they're from Cuba and El Salvador, but one classified as a special interest alien from Afghanistan.
CWD.
Investigators say Jordan was driving the 4 illegal aliens across the border from Mexico. She's now facing 4 felony counts of human smuggling. The same day, DPS captured 2 special interest aliens from Pakistan after they tried to evade law enforcement on a private ranch. I want to bring in Texas Department of Public Safety Lieutenant Christopher Oliveros. Lieutenant, tell us more about this arrest.
Well, good morning, Cheryl. Thanks for having me on. Of course, we've always talked about, especially the last 4 years, about public safety and national security risks, especially gotaways. And I think this investigation, this human smuggling investigation by one of our troopers, really underscores the importance of our troopers being out there, stopping and interdicting these criminal smugglers. This woman, a U.S. citizen, as you mentioned, from Mississippi, came down to the border for the sole purpose to smuggle illegal immigrants. And one of those illegal immigrants was a special interest alien from Afghanistan. And that in itself poses to be a public safety and national security risk, especially we don't know who these individuals are that are being smuggled into the interior. So a great job by our troopers, and really highlights the fact that Texas, we're still at the forefront of this border operation that we've been doing since 2021, when Governor Abbott first launched Operation Lone Star. It really prioritizes the enhancement of public safety and border security from our state troopers working in Texas. So again, great job by our trooper. And you got to also think too, and also for the viewers, that if our trooper wasn't out there, these are 4 potential gotaways that would have made it into the interior, and really not knowing exactly this special interest alien from Afghanistan, what his background is, what his intentions were, where was he going to end up. So I think that in itself really shows that we still have active activity on the border, especially when we talk about and include gotaways and special interest aliens. So again, great work by our trooper, and the fact that we're still out there, we're still carrying on our mission in Texas and committed to border security.
But obviously the question here, though, is, in my mind, who is paying her? Do we have any? Was it a cartel? Is that the working theory? Can you give us any more idea?
About 22 days ago, I started using the Japanese pink salt recipe, but I had to stop because I was losing weight way too fast.
Typically that's how it works, Cheryl. This particular woman, she told one of our troopers that she was getting paid $500 per person that she smuggled, which, obviously that's pretty low, especially for someone that's being smuggled from Afghanistan. But that's what she told our troopers. But again, typically when we see, smugglers from out of state, it's organized. I mean, they are talking to a criminal smuggling organization. They facilitate a rental car. This was a rental car in this particular video this woman was driving. And they come down to the border. They know where to go. They use encrypted messaging, GPS coordinates to pick up people and then smuggle them from point A to point B. And that's where they receive payments. So it's still very organized. We're not seeing it to the level that we saw the last 4 years. But nonetheless, the cartels are very discreet. They're very careful now in how they're continue to carry out their smuggling operations. That's why it is vital to have our state troopers on these major highways interdicting these smugglers to prevent these gotaways and these potential public safety and national security risks from making it into the interior.
Well, and the cartels are still dangerous operations and dangerous people, and this is about fentanyl trafficking and about money. And under the Biden administration, we're talking about $1 billion industry. The cartels weren't just going to walk away and put their guns down because President Trump was elected. It's not how this works, and we know that, unfortunately. I want to ask you about this. The Pentagon ordered an unusually large naval buildup in Latin America. There's at least 7 vessels down there, 3 guided missile destroyers off the waters of Venezuela. The White House is accusing President Maduro of heading up a drug cartel. Maduro's calling up millions of militia members. He's deploying like 15,000 troops to the Colombia border to defend his country. What does this mean to all of you? Because I know one of the things that we've seen at the southern border over the last 4 years has been an inordinate amount of Venezuelans.
Well, exactly right. And this is you know, if you kind of look back the last 4 years, I mean, Venezuela allowed hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans into our country that crossed through Texas, to include now the designated foreign terrorist organization known as TDA. And we've seen what these terrorist organizations have caused in our country, how it's impacted, U.S. citizens' lives. Some have committed heinous crimes to include murder. But the fact is that now we're seeing more of an aggressive posture by the United States. And again, the cartels are going to exploit, vulnerabilities, especially in countries like Venezuela when there's instability. They're going to use those countries to smuggle large shipments of drugs, whether it be cocaine, methamphetamine, or fentanyl. So by having these U.S. naval ships, it's going to interdict those drugs before they actually make it to Central America or Mexico, and then ultimately into our country. So again, this really shows how the administration, how the United States is really taking a more proactive posture and trying to interdict these large shipments of drugs by the cartels. Again, the cartels are going to adapt, as you mentioned earlier. They're going to adapt to the changes. We may not see the level that we saw the last 4 years because they have been impacted, as you mentioned, also by human smuggling. There was a multi-billion-dollar criminal network for the cartels. That has decreased significantly. So now what they're going to do is increase their shipments of cocaine, methamphetamine, other illicit drugs by using the sea or the coastal waters, especially in the Caribbean, to get their drugs across the United States. So again, really shows the proactiveness from this administration, how they are working to try to stop these large shipments of drugs, but also how we also on the ground in Texas, we are the last line of defense when it comes to these type of operations, because we want to stop that flow of drugs making their way into our state as well, and also to the entire country.
And that's why they put so much focus on the tunnels in Arizona. And I've seen some reporting now that the cartels in Mexico are moving towards other countries, trying to extend their reach into Colombia, into other Central American countries to broaden out their enterprise because they've taken a financial hit from the United States. I do want to ask you about President Trump. He's really gaining some political leverage in the fight against Latin American drug cartels that we're talking about. There was this guilty plea of Sinaloa cartel co-founder El Mayo. El Mayo admitted to decades of coordination with Mexican officials to smuggle drugs to the U.S. Now, likely going to be behind bars the rest of his life, Lieutenant. But your reaction, I think the fact that it's the cartel members and the government officials working together, it's like something that you think you believe, but he said that was happening.
Well, I mean, of course, El Mayo is probably one of the most influential cartel leaders of the Sinaloa cartel, actually in cartel history. And the fact that now that he has, pled guilty, it is a really significant impact to the organization. But nonetheless, cartels operate like corporations. You have one leader falls, someone else is going to step in and fill that gap. And that's what's been happening, especially if you look back when El Chapo got arrested, one of the leaders from the Sinaloa cartel. The cartel continued to move on. And of course, we saw the flow of fentanyl at the highest level in the last 4 years. So the cartels will adapt to those changes. I mean, like I said, they're like corporations, and they are truly a global threat. And that's why, we need to focus on really trying to stop the flow of drugs and really going after not only the leaders, but really stopping that supply chain of drugs and really going after their finances. Trying to disrupt their finances. That's really going to impact the cartels. Well, but again, this is a time to really go after them, especially when they're at the weakest point, to really go after these organizations.
Sorry I interrupted you, but it seems that that's why the Trump administration is going so hard after Mexico's president. Exactly. The tariff fight because of this. It's all connected, unfortunately. Lieutenant Christopher Olivares, thank you so much for being with us on this Friday. Really appreciate it.
Watch what peanut butter does to our body.
Celery with peanut butter. Peanut butter is one of the worst foods that you can eat.
I may resume in less than a minute.
And really has no health benefits. And they could have chosen almond butter from peeled almonds, and that would probably save this.
Cashews.
Cashews are not a nut. They're actually part of the poison ivy family.
No way.
Yeah, they cause burns in your gut and can actually cause skin problems.
What about walnuts?
Walnuts actually have the same fat that's in avocados. And human studies show that if you eat one avocado a day, you'll actually lose weight. So good fat makes you lose weight.
Oatmeal?
Oh, not oatmeal. Oats are basically pure sugar. Oatmeal is good for one thing, and that's for fattening horses for the winter. Remember, breakfast is break fast.
And we want to bring in Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Thanks for being here on set. That's a treat for us, indeed. Jen Psaki addressed this last night on her show. Let's watch.
PMI.
People in power, like, say, people in the White House, who are using their platforms to do anything other than call for action for sensible gun safety measures, they're doing anything else, like attacking me, which is a waste of time. They're doing anything but saying what should be done to help prevent tragedies like the shooting in Minneapolis. And because they're not doing that, frankly, they're not doing enough. And people shouldn't accept they're doing enough.
I'll get your thoughts. I know that prayer is an important part of your life and your thinking this morning.
Well, it's incredible to me that Jen Psaki and Gavin Newsom and others would attack religion, diminish the faith of millions of Americans at a time of such great tragedy. There are a lot of common sense solutions, things that can be done to protect children at schools and in churches that do not involve taking away the constitutional rights of law-abiding American citizens. This is not a time to politicize these issues. We mourn for the families, the community that's affected there. I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you guys saw the father's remarks yesterday for that little boy who was lost, Fletcher Merkel. Just, it's such a heart-wrenching thing for all of us. And at the end of the day, the problem is not guns, okay, Jen Psaki? The problem is the human heart. It's mental health. There are things that we can do, solutions that we can come together to handle, but this is not the time to be.
Do you think specifically that there has to be some sort of accountability on the transgender front?
I think so. I mean, there's a common denominator to so much of this, right? The last one of these school shootings that we all saw and remember was another transgender. I mean, this is a mental health component to this that cannot be overlooked, and I think lawmakers and policymakers need to look at that very carefully.
Gavin Newsom decided to throw a tweet up yesterday that's getting a whole lot of attention, essentially implying that prayer doesn't work. He said, quote, these children were literally praying as they got shot at, and that was in response to a clip of Caroline Leavitt saying that people should believe in the power of prayer. That now has almost 7 million views online, and it has enraged conservatives. Your thoughts?
It should enrage conservatives. Gavin Newsom is ridiculous. He's become a caricature of something. I don't have words to respond to that. I cannot believe that he's gone that low to get attention, and that's what this is about.
Well, he's getting it, and some of the numbers show that sometimes the Democrats are responding to that. But the other thing that he's doing is trying to figure out a way to get on the fighting crime train. And President Truth posted this yesterday. President Trump. President Truth also. I think he might like that nickname. Okay, he said this. Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune are working with me and other Republicans on a comprehensive crime bill. It's what our country needs, and now more to follow. Make America great again. You know, I'm old enough to remember 1996 and the crime bill then that Bill Clinton pushed through. Is this a real possibility? And what would the broad parameters include?
It is a very real possibility. We cannot allow crime to destroy our great American cities, and it begins with the nation's capital. We have to end the crime wave. We have to clean up the city. We've got to make it beautiful again, because we are the shining city on a hill, and our capital should reflect that. The President's instincts are exactly right. We're working together. We're going to be bringing legislation to the floor in the next few weeks to address that issue first, that city, to deal with juvenile crime and the wave that's been, and to talk about these restrictive policing policies that have prevented law enforcement from maintaining the safety on the streets for residents and visitors. So there'll be a lot coming forward.
Do you think that you can get a bill to pass that would provide more funding to continue the National Guard presence in D.C.?
Listen, I'm all for it. I told the President, and yesterday morning we talked about this, and I said, we will give you the resources and the authority necessary to complete this job, because it is wildly popular. You've seen the Democrat mayor of D.C. came out and said, thank you for the reinforcement. We have to bring law and order back. We're the party. He's the president to do it, and we're going to show that to the people.
Not to give you a Gavin Newsom doubleheader, but he name-dropped you personally yesterday, essentially trying to say that crime is worse in Louisiana than it is in California. Take a listen. We'll get your thoughts.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's in Louisiana.
Have at it.
Again, Gavin Newsom will do anything for attention. He can name drop me all he wants. He needs to go and govern his state and not be engaging in all of this. Look, we have crime in cities all across America, and we're against that everywhere, and we need to bring policies to bear. My hometown of Shreveport has done a great job of reducing crime gradually. But we've got to address it everywhere that it rears its ugly head. And I think every major city in the country, the residents of those cities, are open to that and anxious to have it. And we're the policy, we're the party that's going to bring that forward. I look forward to that in the days ahead.
Principally, though, how do you feel about federal presence in local jurisdictions for crime fighting?
There are emergency situations in some of these municipalities that require the National Guard. I mean, you see the effects in D.C. The crime has dropped dramatically just in a number of weeks.
What would you say to like Mayor Johnson, who says there's not a crisis in Chicago?
It's an absolute absurdity. Chicago is one of the most dangerous places in the world. Their murder rate, they don't even report murders on the evening news anymore because they're so common. The statistics are overwhelming, and it's ridiculous for him to deny that he needs assistance with that. So I hope the National Guard does go to Chicago.
So Democrats are playing around with the idea of potentially having what they're calling a mini convention next summer before the midterms. President Trump said Republicans are considering that. This is his Truth Social yesterday. Quote, "We have raised far more money than the Democrats and are having a great time fixing all of the country, destroying mistakes made by the Biden administration. I am thinking of recommending a national convention to the Republican Party just prior to the midterms. It has never been done before." What are your thoughts on that?
I was in Detroit yesterday morning. He called me 15 minutes before that truth, and he said, "Mike, I've got a great idea." I said, "Let's have it." I'm so excited about this. I said, "Mr. President, let's go," because I think that would be such a great rallying point right before the midterm election for us to tout all the great successes we've had, to enjoy that. The president loves the idea of it. I do as well. We got to pick the right location, but look, I'm all for it, and I think it's going to be great.
We'll see. Well, let us know the date so we can mark it on our calendars. One last question for you. There's a new poll out from Gallup on partisanship. You see this all the time, but this is the biggest gap they've ever seen. Satisfied with the direction of the country, 76% of Republicans say yes. Fewer than 1% of Democrats say yes. So does that present more of a challenge for you as you try to put through legislation, or are you just used to this now and there's no way out of it?
Well, it's kind of sad that this is the condition of our national politics. I will point out that the approval ratings of people within their own party, there's a wide chasm between that as well. We have our highest approval rating ever, Republicans in Congress, while the Democrats have the lowest approval rating ever of their own party. But the platforms of the two parties, there's a wide chasm as well. This is not your father's Democratic Party. They've gone full Marxist, socialist. They're going to elect a Marxist as the mayor of this great city, and it's a terrible trend. So, look, I'm for bipartisanship when we can do it. We want to bring common sense Democrats along with us to solve these problems. But if they're not willing to come along, we have to do it ourselves. And that's why we did the big, beautiful bill and all the reconciliation.
But will you be able to, what do you think that, I know that you'll probably say the Republicans can hold on, but how difficult will it be for Republicans to hold on in the midterms next year when historically it's
difficult? I am 100% convinced we are going to grow the House majority next year. Yes, we will. Listen, lots of reasons for that. I could give you a 90-minute slideshow, but we had a demographic shift in the 2024 election. We've delivered for them. They'll stay with us now. We have the most favorable election map that we've had in about 30 years. There are more Democrats sitting in Trump seats than Republicans in Harris seats by far. And the Democrats are in full free fall. You put all those things together, we're going to have a great year.
Sounds like a pitch for a mini convention.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sounds like you're going to go on Water Show and call for a red wave.
Oh, I love it.
We'll see. All right. Thanks for being here, Mr. Speaker.
Thanks,
Great to have you.
OS. VFF. PMI halted. PMI will resume at 11 hours 24 minutes and 38 seconds. VFF.
IPDN.
BFF.